coming to the Annapurna. I was led here by my father, who researched colon hydrotherapy online after hearing some of my symptoms that I was having, and had spoken to a woman that he knew who had the exact same symptoms as I did, and she said that colon hydrotherapy was the only thing that gave her relief for 20 years. I was very ill when I first got here. I had previously stopped doing drugs and alcohol a year before coming to the Annapurna. I was very toxic. I smoked about 8 to 10 cigarettes a day. I ate when I felt like it, which sometimes was a lot and sometimes wasn't barely anything at all. I ate a lot of meat and a lot of dairy. I thought I was healthy, but found out I wasn't. I had been going to doctors for the entire year before coming to the Annapurna with severe abdominal pain, blood in my urine that was not related to any urinary tract infection or kidney infection, just trace amounts that couldn't be identified, and I also had spotting in between my cycle, my menstrual cycle, and all of these symptoms came all at the same time in waves, and every doctor told me that they were unrelated. My doctor told me that I needed to go start seeing specialists for each of these things, and I couldn't afford that. I ended up calling Robin, and she was the first one that told me that all of those symptoms coming all at the same time made sense. And that was a really big relief to me. I wasn't nervous about the program because I was used to living in pain, and that was probably more comfortable for me than anything else. I did the cleanse. I actually did a very, very long cleanse at first. I was very toxic. I was very sick. I stayed here for 14 days, and Robin took me under her wing, and I stopped smoking cigarettes. From the day that I started, she said, "Honey, I won't help you unless you don't smoke cigarettes. If I smell anything on you, I'm not going to help you." And she intimidated me, and so I didn't smoke cigarettes, and I didn't have a single craving the entire time. Not one craving, which is a miracle. My grandmother died of emphysema at a young age, and I just assumed that I would always smoke. I didn't come here to smoke. I came so that I could ride my bike up the hill without having pain in my abdomen. I had been dealing with depression for a long time, and I had been put on antidepressants and mood stabilizers when I stopped drinking. And those helped my emotional state, but physically my appetite was low, and I was just lethargic and not connected to anything. So physically it wasn't worth it for me, and I would continuously go off and go back on and go off and go back on, because the physical feeling of being on the medication wasn't enough for me. It wasn't worth it. So I didn't plan on going off of my medication. I was diagnosed as bipolar, and I didn't plan on going off my medication, and it wasn't Robin's decision for me to do that. I just did it secretly on my own, because I knew if I told anyone that they would all tell me to go back on. So I haven't been on since. It's been 3 years, and I've done 8 cleanses in the last 3 years, and no longer suicidal, thankfully. And I don't know, the program for me was amazing. It changed my life. It's one thing to stop putting trash in your body, but to start to learn how your body feels. I didn't know that what I put in my body made me feel different. So, and not just with stimulants and drugs, but once getting a clean slate, then I could start putting things in my body, and I could tell what felt good and what didn't. And that was a gift, to be able to sense my body and know what I needed. I didn't have much dignity when I came in here. I didn't have much self-respect. And it's something that's growing, and I don't think I would have this much of a chance to learn myself without the program. In all aspects of it, not just the gallbladder liver flush, but Robin herself has literally raised me in a lot of ways. And just by being a good example of how to heal, and showing me what my body needs. Even after the cleanse, there's a choice. You can decide whether to continue forward in that path or to go back to your old ways. And I have dabbled a little bit in some of my old eating habits, and it didn't feel right. I found out the feeling I got when I had gluten was the same feeling I've had all through childhood. I would get tired and grumpy, and my face would puff up, and I get red. I'm allergic to gluten. I just didn't know that that's what that was. I've just gotten to learn a sense of, what my body feels like and how to continue to have it work the way it should. My partner also came here. When I met him, he ate like the typical white bread American diet. He liked to eat, energizing things, lots of protein, bread, tuna fish, the TV dinners or whatever, frozen dinners that you put in your fridge. So when I met him, we would have dinner time and we'd just split. We'd go our separate ways, and then we'd come back together. And when I moved in with him, he was interested in the healthy eating and changing his diet, but he didn't. He couldn't eat certain things. Anything that was healthy, apples, nuts with skins on them, seeds, all sorts of things. Basically anything that was good for him, he couldn't eat without going into anaphylactic shock. His throat would close up and he couldn't breathe very well. And this had been happening for several years, and the list of things that caused that was growing, and the intensity of the effects of these foods was also increasing. And so he started carrying around an EpiPen and never knowing what's going to happen. So I wanted to help him with the cleanse, but I couldn't, because all of the foods that you eat during the cleanse were the ones that caused the anaphylactic shock. So we didn't even know that's what it was until we came to Robin. I convinced him to come here and do a cleanse, and the moment he ate one of those foods, his throat closed up, and immediately Robin pressed and did reflexology on his foot, and his throat was fine. And so now he did the cleanse. He eats mostly vegan. All of that other stuff was removed from the kitchen as soon as we got home, and he eats like 2 apples, maybe 3 apples a day. It's a part of his daily routine is to make some applesauce. He's just much happier with the way he feels, and it's been a miracle for both of us.